Hi, this is Rounik from Ask Audio, and we're at Soundmit 2020, the virtual edition. And I'm here with the guys from MakePro, Frank and Lenny. Hey guys, how you doing?
Hi there. How are you doing?
Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you too. So we had a brief chat just before I hit the record button, and I'm really impressed to see a lot of the different modules that you've got. But before we dive into those, it'd be great to get a sense of who you are and the inspiration behind MakePro and how you started.
All right, let me start. I'm Lenny from MakePro X, and I'm an audio professional. I run my own recording studio, and I met Frank a couple years ago, and he showed me some really cool stuff, and I was intrigued. And yeah, some time ago, I started working with him, giving him my input, and now I'm sitting here in this interview.
Cool.
Yeah. So when we met first time, I was showing Lenny pretty open-ended, um, completely modular, and community-based idea. At that time, it was a concept. We had early proof of concepts. So we had modules which proved to be replaced by better modules. And so what we today have is already our third iteration, our third generation, and it's the golden thing. It's the way to do this, but we had to learn it because it was like a new concept. And so where we come from is we're both from the audio fields, and up until today, you knew us under MakePro Audio. Now we recently changed over to MakePro and MakePro X, and the X actually is the application which you can do with it. We've got so much response, so much feedback from areas outside audio. We got feedback from light people saying, "Oh, now I have faders for my light software because software also is heavily taking off in the light segment." We said, "Yeah, you can control your lights with our faders." And then we had people from the home segment, smart home automation, and so they asked like, "Oh, can I?" Yes, you can, right? And so got interest, and we said, okay, it's misleading to limit this scope only to audio. We are audio people. That's where our heart is. That's why we started this. But it's much stronger to bring things together. It's not like a mono-purpose thing, but and opening up to new fields, opening up to other protocols, other applications, enables you to again bring these applications together in like a new controllable environments and be creative with it. So the Make Pro idea was born following the idea to empower people, collaborating, just like open source. Like if you're familiar with open source, what happened was that people just disliked the status quo and the established ways of how software was made, and people said, no, let's collaborate in an open way. We share. You can use my stuff. I will use your stuff, and we plug it together, and we have better solutions. And open source today rules the entire internet. I mean, none of the mobile devices, none of the technologies we're using today would be there without open source. And now in the hardware space, in the creative industries, this has to be played a little different, slightly different because hardware is involved, and hardware doesn't quite work like software, but the idea is exactly the same. We are doing multi-purpose, like application neutral modules, like faders. 10 years from now, these are still faders, and whatever you control with it, it's up to your changing requirements. It's up to your ideas and your ideas of tomorrow, what people like to do with it. So basically, we're creating ecosystem which allows people in a collaborative way to develop solutions, which is mostly putting some software together and plugging things together, using a standardized set of hardware in order to build very usable, professional, and one-of-a-kind solutions, like bespoke solutions, your own thing you can build and you can keep developing. It's not like you buy it and it is what it is, and it's you're tired of it, you sell it, you buy a new thing. No, you can continuously develop. Now that's the
So
fabric of
it's,
ideas which
uh,
start.
yeah, so it's constantly or potentially a constantly evolving controller. for yourself, or for the musician, for the producer, and for the lighting guys, who I'm imagining you probably not had a huge amount of interest in recently because of the coronavirus and the pandemic. And I'm sure, you know, in the broadcast and live industries, they've probably been hit quite hard, I imagine. But hopefully for musicians and producers and Twitch DJs, should we say, people online, they're looking at these thinking, okay, what can we, you know, this is great because this controller is great, you know, that you can buy from a shop. It's wonderful, but actually I want some other things. I want some faders on there. It's only got rotary encoders, but if I buy that one, then it's got other stuff I don't need. But so then they can customize and build their own. So you mentioned software. Do you supply software? Is there a, like, you know, how do you get things set up? I mean, what protocols are you using, and what software do you envisage that people would use to connect things up for themselves?
We started with providing let's say protocols and supporting environments which are already out there. Yeah, we have software cooking. It will be a couple of weeks, few months when we release it, and we can talk about this in a moment. But starting point is to support protocols, environments people are already using. And in the IoT fields or home automation fields, this is MQTT. And those are systems like Node-RED, which is like a modules, cables, construction thing, like modular software environment, if you like, for which there are drivers for absolutely everything. Like whatever you want to control, you name it, it's there in a platform called Node-RED. And we support that. And so if you use Node-REDs with our Make House tactile components, already today you can build all kinds of solutions. At the weekend, I think we'll have a little video that we can share where we show an example of Make House controlling the OBS
software, yeah,
streaming environments. Right?
Okay.
So, but that's the starting point only. We will be supplying a software framework which can be extended by people, and it goes a bit like this. Another example. Now this is the unit I was just smashing and surviving. So what is this? This is just, you know, one possible form factor, because you're absolutely free to do any form factor you like. And so this controller here could be on your table behind your keyboard, maybe, and it is a very compact, you know, DAW controller, if you like. Yeah, you can switch layers here and switch meaning of what these faders mean, but you can also take it live. You know, it's not so big, it's not so dedicated. You can take it live and control synthesis parameters, control a mixer which sits in the rack. It's reusable, and it's only about the software you use to determine what you do. And this software framework will make it really easy for people to create so-called features. And you know, we have some people who can do a bit of coding, and these people can do features, and everyone else can use these features and can use it his way and can combine multiple features to be used in the same device. So if you have a little thing like this, you would be selecting the feature down here, like bottom row. That's convention. We have something we call like a navigator on these buttons, and you select the feature, and you can say now, okay, mix a feature, and now here you have levels. Yeah, you could say, oh, let me adjust my light. Okay, now you have some essential light control with whatever pages of fixtures. Yeah, you could have automation. You could have assignments to buttons for your performance. Yeah, this we see this as a man-machine interface for performances as well. Like, because control is everything. If control reaches into your network and control is how you like it, then it's more than a controller. It becomes an instrument, right? You can control things you already own in a new way. It's not like, oh, replace what you have. No, embrace what you have, bring it together, control it in new ways, and discover new potential.
Yes, I love that idea. I mean, I remember when, I think it was when Ableton released Push, the first Push, they described it as more of an instrument than a controller for, you know, for live. And And that's the same concept, is that you're basically putting, controls together into one interface, but then it becomes something so much more than that, because the meaning behind how you interact with your software or whatever, or hardware that you're controlling, there's a different interaction, as I'm sure, that's what's, okay, I've got so many questions for you. The controller that you dropped and then picked up and dropped again before we were on air, there's basically 4 modules in there from what I can see. So maybe you can tell us, how these modules connect and how you would then connect this to a computer or a synthesizer, and just kind of give us like the basics so that we understand how it all works.
Right. We call this a D4 form factor. D stands for A, B, C, D. This is exactly 19-inch. Yeah. So this, if you put some rack ears, you can put it into a 19-inch rack. So this was, we were looking at racks. We were looking at rack as well in finding the right sizes, the right conventions. And so this is like a 4-segment housing, and it is 4 rows deep. So D4 means 4 segments and 4 rows. If you look at this, this is an A6. A is a single segment, and it has 6 rows, right? And yeah, any combination, it looks a bit like. Yeah. All right. So this is an 8. This is a B10. Yeah. And oh, by the way, so what does it do? Yeah. Obviously, it looks like it's a really nice mixer controller. So you could operate your DAW.
I love the wooden section there at the bottom. That's gorgeous.
It's got to be, and it's a thing you will keep for decades, plural, most likely. So yeah.
It will never become obsolete. No. If you change your workflow, you change your DAW, maybe you don't do any audio engineering anymore. You go over to I don't know, video editing. You can just change the modules any way you like. Make it a D form factor, whatever you like. It will never become obsolete.
Yeah, it's lovely.
It could be a mixer, but this could also be a step sequencer, maybe. Where see the beats running here and motor fader is suddenly, forming part of a step sequencer. It could be a synth editor. It could be a lighting desk at the same time.
So, are the little pads or the buttons, are they RGB or?
Yes.
Okay, right.
They're all RGB. The faders are all motorized and touch sensitive.
Wow.
Well, the encoders, they're touch sensitive, and they're also push button encoders.
Right.
So endless possibilities there.
Brilliant. Okay.
Just imagine having like a huge controller, and you just touch the encoder, and it tells you on the display what parameter is set on this encoder.
Okay.
So,
I'm starting to salivate internally now. This is too good. This is really, really great.
So, sorry.
Yeah, no, sorry, carry on.
The system also allows you to combine multiple units. Like you could put them into the same housing, but you don't have to. So you could use this alongside with the controller we just saw, and you can use this to switch the context of the other guy. So you could basically here determine, like select what's the other controller does, so they can work. Multiple units can work together in the same environment, and you can also add a cell phone or a tablet to go behind this, like a cell phone or a tablet for the bigger guy, to give you feedback on the assignments and on the values, like the levels. So, like horizontal values on your smart gear.
So you would consider really using, a tablet or smartphone as the way to kind of provide a display, but you don't make a digital display yourself, or maybe you're thinking about it? Okay, next.
This is still from the lab, all right. But this is actually this is being folded together. So this is like what we say. It's a 1U. It's like a 1 row kind of a thing, and these are OLED displays. Yeah. So what you can do is you can. This will be very soon. I think still in December. Those we will have the first batch available.
So we're working on it.
Single row, very, very nice displays, like from any angle. high resolution OLEDs. So yeah, displays will become more and more prominent in our solutions.
So maybe back to your question, how do you create your own hardware? It's pretty simple. You know, all our available modules, like this one, this is a 60 millimeter fader module. We also have 100 millimeters. There's RGB buttons and coders, and they have rails, and they fit into the respective rails in the housing. So you choose your housing, and you just slide it in. That's it. We just built a ready to go fader pack. It's very easy. So if I take this one, for example, I just have to take off the back plates, and then I can slide all these modules out to the back. And on the inside, it's the same way. It's very easy. On the back side of all of our modules, I take this one for example. You see there's a 6-pin connector, and you just take a cable, plug it in, plug it into the next one, and then into the next module. And that's what we call a tile chain, because these modules we call tiles. These are all tiles, and we create a tile chain. We just daisy chain them one to the next one, and yeah, that's it. That's all you have to do when you create your own control device.
Brilliant. And so are they powered by USB as well? So you connect them into a computer or a USB brick or something?
Yeah, unless you have motor faders, those need more power than USB can supply. Can power this via USB, and any of these tiles can be a bridge to a computer, to your laptop, to your desktop, to a Raspberry Pi. We love the Raspberry Pi. We embed it all the time, and more. And so Raspberry Pi and the audio capabilities. There's a Pi back there. So we love to integrate this. The audio capabilities of the Raspberry Pi are already enormous today, and so they're growing. It's an ecosystem which is very, very, very interesting. And so far, it's very hard to operate because it's Linux, right? You have to SSH and shell scripts and command line, and it's not for musicians, right? And so we are anticipating that once we help making the Raspberry Pi a lot more accessible, that people can use the Pi to build solutions which go way beyond control, right? It'll be, I mean, the Pi already can, and your network already can sample, synthesize, mix, records, loop, whatnot, right? And we also see a lot of sense in expanding our family of modules with audio modules, like for breakouts, like USB audio, network audio, ADATs interfaces, microphone preamps, DSP, that kind of stuff. And
basically, the entire studio could be modular.
That's our plan, yeah.
Cool.
Over time, and we will not do it alone, right? Because we are inviting people to join in, and we have a number of people working with us on really interesting solutions. And once they're out, I hope this will inspire more people to see, like, hey, what can be done here? And so, because if you are able to invent a solution and do your share in getting this to life, suddenly many people can really use it because it's in a usable form factor. It's not just a project which is like rigged with tons of cables and don't touch it. It's not a lab setup, but we're trying to take Maker technology. We're trying to take Maker innovation from the lab into the hands of musicians, and that requires the things we're doing, and that's why we're doing it.
Okay, this is fantastic. Thank you so much. So before we end, I'd love to know a little bit more about the prices for the modules and how people can go about to actually purchase them too.
All right. It varies, of course, with the size. It does vary. It's yeah. You can roundabouts. There is a way to estimate this. it'll be 50 to 60 euros per row, roundabout. So a module like this is 99 euros, including VAT. Now, this is not, it's not cheap. It's not made to be cheap, but it is a very good value because you will not dispose of this. It will not get obsolete. It is.
As we've seen before, they're very, very rugged as well. You can drop them and then they still work.
It works. That's right. So we believe this is a very attractive option, considering it's more like an investment, than a consumable, you know, and it keeps growing, and few products have that potential, and that's why price was not our prime concern. It's we did it right. We did it in a way that's, you know, it really will survive for a long time, and it's serviceable. It can adapt, and those things were more important than making it cheap. But we think it's it's an attractive thing. This Eurorack thing, and we're lacking still on CV input, drum gates, input module. This will be quite competitive. We have other things which usually like this. These are called T-bar, like video editing things. If you buy this in professional space, really damn expensive. Those are things where people actually say, oh, it's affordable. I can use these for also different purposes. So it starts at around 200, 250 euros. You can start, and you can build from there.
And all the tiles, the modules that we showed, they are available right now. So they're available in our own shop that will be linked at our booth. You can buy them today. And the Eurorack Dynapark will be available in a matter of couple weeks.
Brilliant. Oh, guys, thank you so much. I'm really excited to see these, and you know, looking forward to maybe Ask Audio covering more about these, perhaps doing a review when the time is right, when you've got something available to send our way. Lenny, Frank, thank you so much. Have a fantastic Soundmit and 2020 virtual edition. And
thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.